And then there were two. And then there were two. Gotta take it about old school. Gotta take it about old school, guys. I mean, see, guys, you know, people may be new, but guys who know this show knew that I gotta take it about old school. Because this is the home of the UCL. The channel was built on the UCL, Shouty Boy, Uncle Mo. So I had to take it back old school. I had to take it back to those days. Hence why I had to use that intro with that intro music, bro. Because it gets real. You see, someone made a comment on Twitter. They said that I really feel hyped or excited for this UCL final. And it feels underwhelming that there is not really that great kind of expectation as to what would happen. Because if we're to look at last year, Real Madrid against Liverpool, it generally was, it could be either side. It could be either side. People thought Liverpool were going to win and Liverpool were going into that game as favourites. We all know what Football Heritage said. But I want to just give you a spin as to why this is still a UCL final that still means something. Because there are two storylines here. See, I'm a narrative merchant and I live upon the narratives, and you cannot ignore what those narratives are. There are two clear narratives. Let's actually start with the Inter narrative. You see, the Inter narrative is one that's a bit wild. I'm going to expose a dude, not naming any names, YSK Jackson. Lukaku holding up a UCL trophy. That's a narrative. You know, so with the abuse he's received, the constant abuse, La Kaka, overweight, Tims, who even gave him the name freaking Tims, the amount of abuse that he's received, if Luke Skywalker is a UCL winner, UCL winner's medal, and holds up a UCL trophy, that's real. That's a narrative. Rock Nation, Meg the Stallion. The Conte narrative. Conte, don't let Simone Inzaghi win a UCL. No. Basically, Conte, don't let Simone Inzaghi win a UCL with a far lesser Inter side than the one that you had. Because that's going to be wild. And as for Simone Inzaghi, because I remember when Simone Inzaghi used to play. Philip Inzaghi was the main guy. That's his older brother, who we all know was the AC Milan guy. And I think Philip Inzaghi used to play for Bozo FC. And literally, his brother overshadowed him. But 1000%, it's just so funny how these things work. Philip Inzaghi has not really done that well as a manager. Simone Inzaghi has been superb for Inter, you know, and guiding them just to this UCL final is huge. But imagine him winning it. Imagine him winning it and beating what is the best side in the world. Because let's be real, Inter are crazy underdogs going up here, and this is going to be doy because you're going up against an excellent side, a side who, talk about it, I don't know how you beat these guys. And there is an Italian narrative. There is a Serie narrative. Serie have already taken 2 L's already, and Fiorentina and Roma, but they still made it. But I think for Inter to win it, it would be a huge, massive dub for a league that has been suffering. For a league that was the #1 league back in the 90s and early 2000s, but has now fallen behind the pecking order. Some guys would say that the Italian league is probably even behind the Bundesliga and so forth. But with what Roma did and what Fiorentina did, but if Inter are able to actually get that dub, not just being finalists, but actually get that dub, that is huge and a massive narrative for the Italian league. So there are a lot of those narratives up in that piece. But let's look at that Man City narrative, which is, I think, the main narrative. Guys, I mean, with all due disrespect to other channels and so forth, there is no channel, online or offline, that produced the kind of streams that the LEP streams produce. They're the greatest streams of all time. Like, guys, I mean, I don't want to be like arrogant or anything. This is me humbly speaking, but I'm speaking for fact. Those are the greatest streams of all time. The LEP streams are the greatest streams of all time in terms of the reaction and the conversations that we had, and just in terms of just quality content, they're the greatest streams of all time. And the story was always that you can't win a UCL with City. You can't win a UCL out with 3 oil refineries and a state. That's crazy. Give me 1 oil refinery. Just give me 1 oil refinery. I'm giving you 4 UCLs. See, I'm giving you 4 UCLs with 1 oil refinery. You have about 3 or 4. So the question was always that, wait a minute, you can't win one UCL without Messi? Messi really is your biological and unbiological father? He really is your legal and illegal guardian? The heck? So all these things were flowing through of like, wait a minute, LEP, you gotta be LEP, bro. You can't give me a UCL. You couldn't even make a UCL final with Bayern Munich. So we all thought this was going to stop against Chelsea. We thought, okay, look, it's Chelsea. I don't even know how the hell Chelsea even got to that final. Okay, this is what it is there. But to lose like that to Chelsea, like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So this is the chance for him to fully correct this. And guys, the Pep narrative is frightening. The Pep narrative is frightening. The Pep narrative. I repeat, I am a stutterer. Thanks, Dad. I'm a stutterer, but now I will not stutter. The Pep narrative is frightening. It's frightening. Nobody has ever won 2 trebles. 2 trebles with 2 different teams. It's never happened. So Pep could do something that is unprecedented in football. And him doing that, where does that place him? As a manager, within the club game though, still to say internationally, but within the club game, where does that put him? Of the only manager to win 2 trebles. Winning 1 treble is hard. Because winning a treble, that is the footballing nirvana, that's the footballing pinnacle, that is the footballing excellence. Where you truly are supremely the best team. A double is cool, a league is cool, a UCL is cool. But to win your league, your domestic trophy, and the UCL, bro, all in the space of a season with how competitive football is, that's real. So that Pep narrative is crazy. Because where do we now put him? He's already seen as one of the greatest managers of all time. But if he now does this, something that nobody else has done, wow. And not only that, he will now have given City their first UCL. So not only their first UCL, but the treble. And what about City? The City narrative. As we speak, City are one of the greatest Premier League teams of all time. Some may say they are. Some may say without this UCL, they already are one of the greatest Premier League teams of all time. 100 points, 98 points, consecutive wins record, goals record. The amount of records they've broken is crazy. No team has made the consistent impact on the Premier League like Man City have. No one has. Shout out to the Invincibles, shout out to Mourinho's team, shout out to Klopp's Liverpool team, shout out to Fergie's team. No team has gentrified and castrated the EPL the way that these guys have. They've punked. They have punked and seduced the Prince Charles Invitational. They have. If City win this treble, what are we saying of this City team? What are we saying? Because if they win this treble and we want to have that uncomfortable conversation about this team and the United team, what are we saying? But let's look at the game now. I want to look at the game. City should win. They are the favorites. And no jinx, because I've run out all of my jinx. I used up all of my jinx against Cristiano, and I'm waiting for the jinx capsule. It's resets next season, so it's all used up. So my jinx capsule resets. So guys, certainly wants about you jinx. I have run out of my jinx. I used everything up on Cristiano and not World Cup. It's run out. So guys, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Inter fans, I can't help you. I don't talk to me. Talk to your witch doctor. I have run out of freaking jinxes. So City are favorites because City are the best team in the world right now. And why it's going to be so difficult for Inter to beat City is that one weakness against Pep was the defending. The man-to-man defending. He sorted that out now because Ake, Akanji, Kawok are so superior to the kinds of bozos that they once had. It's going to be hard to find weaknesses here. You know? So so from City's point of view, play your game, make no mistakes, you beat Inter Milan in 90 minutes. Forget extra time. If City play their game, they make no mistakes. Good possession, quality possession, keeping it sharp, aggressively find that penetrative pass, win your defensive battles, maintaining concentration, don't make any stupid mistakes, but keep the pressure on passing wise. So make that possession with intent. not just possession for possession's sake, but possession with intent, City beat Inter Milan because they have the superior side with the superior players who are way much more in form. So from Inter's point of view, what do? For Inter, their best chance is you've got to take it to old school. And by old school, it's tactical fouls, and they have to be perfect defensively. Even if they're perfect defensively, it still doesn't mean they won't concede, but the foundation is you have to be. Inter, you make any mistakes, or you do what United did, i.e. you now give them goals, okay, this thing is over. So by you being perfect defensively, that still ain't it. But we have to start there. So Inter have got to take it back old school. Old school Italian defending of where thou shalt not pass. You are not getting past that defense. You can pass. Every time you make that penetration pass, we are there to intercept. You will not get through us. And once that happens, for Inter, it's about counter. Because United had a few openings. It's just that they had a dude called Jadon Scamcho in the team. So for Inter Milan, it's about how intelligently do you use the ball. So if you're Inter, you don't want to be in a 1-to-1 situation with Kyle Walker because there is no one on the Inter side that can beat Kyle Walker in a 1-to-1 safe situation. If Vinny can't, no one on Inter can. Okay, so don't talk about Mkhitaryan. So for Inter Milan's most important player in this team is going to be Barella. Because obviously beyond the defense, because obviously, if Skriniar plays, know what the Skriniar is playing, but Bastoni and all those dudes, they're going to be very important, as well as Onana as well. Onana is going to be key. For Onana, you're going to have to make saves. You're going to have to make key saves. Not only your saves, but your distribution as well and the choices you make. But Barella is going to be key. Because Barella, he's the points man. He is the guy that's going to unleash that counter. And City know that let Barella receive the ball, but don't allow Barella to make that pass. Do not allow Barella to get into transition. Because once Barella gets into transition, he can either run on that defense and cause issues. He makes that right pass to a Dzeko. He makes that right pass to a Lautaro. It's going to be key. Because people say, wait, why it's not Lautaro? Lautaro is key. Barella is that guy. Because he has to receive that ball in midfield and he's the guy that gives it to Lautaro. Because Barella is the transition dude. What City wants is to stop the transition and that dangerous transition. So, it's a difficult one for Inter Milan, guys. I ain't gonna lie. It's gonna be a difficult one. And for City, it's almost similar to like Argentina, where it's very rare that you get like another chance at the final, specifically with how City lost it. And as you saw from Argentina, you give us another chance, we're not going to mess it up. I find it very hard for City to mess this up. And remember, I feel that this is arguably City's best side. For me, you could argue that it's between this team and the 98 points team. Because I believe those have been City's best side. That's 98 points team. They should have won it that year. Remember, that was the year of Tottenham and Liverpool. So, because if they'd got to that final against Liverpool, they'd probably be Liverpool in that final because that team was more money. But I think this team is money as well. So, see, for Inter Milan, it's going to be tough. And I just think that for City, they're like putting us back in this position, knowing what happened those years before. And I'm looking at De Bruyne, because De Bruyne is like, oh, no. I know I ran into a dude's shoulder. I ain't run into anyone's shoulders in Istanbul. For Haaland, it's like, bro, my debut season, I'm going to get that UCL. So, specifically for guys who were on that pitch against Chelsea, when Chelsea said, what's up? This is a moment for redemption. It's a moment for redemption for these dudes. And for me, I just feel that it's a difficult one for Inter Milan, because I just think that, Inter, you're going up against a very good side. And we look at the side that Inter have dispatched. So, first thing was Benfica, FC Porto, and your boys, AC Milan. I'm like, But you see, what you have to give Inter is look at the group they came out of. Look at the group they came out of. And what's going to be very important for Inter Milan, I need to remind this is, it's that Lukaku Dzeko thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You started with Dzeko, brought on Lukaku on. That has been what has got you here, and I think Simone Inzaghi will stick there. And you know what? That's cool. Because most likely, Inter will probably be losing this game. So if they're losing, we have Lukaku to bring on to change the course of the game, which has worked previously. Rather than Lukaku comes on, we are losing, can Dzeko come off the bench to change the course of the game? And who is better as an impact sub, Dzeko or Lukaku? It's Lukaku. So you roll there. But for City's, I mean, look at City's bench. City know that, bro, if things aren't going well, we know what Mahrez can do in an ISO situation. We know what Foden can do and how explosive he can be. There are so many guys that they can bring upon, but I just feel that, for instance, if Gundogan, De Bruyne really gets going, get that ball moving, and they're in that passing and moving groove, and are in that kind of chemistry, telepathic groove with Grealish as well, it's going to be hard. It's going to be real hard, bro. It's going to be real hard. And again, for Inter Milan, you have to. It's going to be hard, man, because it's like for Lautaro with Barella and Dzeko with Çalhanoğlu as well. You've got to be crafty. Because forget about what City can do with the ball. Without the ball, they're very good. City are very good defensively. So Inter Milan have got to be super smart and have got to now think diagonally. Not in straight lines, but diagonally and really be very creative, you know. But I just think for City, don't make any mistakes. If City don't make any defensive mistakes, which is what they made against Chelsea, I don't see how they don't win this game. I just don't. Because remember, you know what they've always said, no team has ever won the Champions League in their first foray. So, even though Chelsea struggled at that time. But I think so, City say, okay, you've given us a second chance right now, we're ready. We are ready now. Because we've now experienced the heartbreak of what happened in 2021. We're ready to right that wrong, man. And here's the other issue. See this, and I'm sure Simone Inzaghi knows this. It's not just about shutdown Haaland. No, we saw that against Man United. Haaland hardly had a good game, but then Gundogan dropped a two-piece. So the difficulty with this is that there are so many guys that can get you. So Inter's best hope is you've got to hope that basically your hope is excellence defensively. Hope that City just don't have a great game. And once you have that, you have to be excellent in your decision making when you have the ball. You know, be brave, look for that direct pass, make those right runs, make those right choices, and you just have to just try and find those spaces to ignore ISO situations. Because I think what Inter wants is get that ball rolling and try to hit and attack that space. So, we'll see. But look, man, the narratives are there, bro. For Inter Milan, this would arguably be a bigger victory than 2010. Because 2010 was a treble, but based on where Inter came from, based on how they've struggled domestically, bro, Simone Inzaghi was on the verge of being sacked. I still think he's still going to get sacked despite what he's done. So based on where they've come from and so forth, this would be an insane victory out of nowhere. But for Man City, history beckons. Because if City do this, you now enter that extremely exclusive club that Chelsea belongs to as well. That extremely exclusive club, plus Chelsea, of guys who wanted the treble. So City can now say, we speak fluent. Well, basic treble. I think fluent treble is more than once. So the guys who speak fluent treble are Barca and Bayern. I think they're the guys that speak fluent treble. Basic treble is Inter, United, and so forth. So you can now say we speak basic, and most teams don't even speak basic treble. So the teams that speak basic treble are Chelsea, United, and if City do it, Man City as well. So it's going to be a historic night. I mean, basically, put it this way. Whatever happens, the post-match stream is going to be historic. Either we're going to talk about LEP, saying LEP again, or it will be a web stream. We're talking about Man City as a treble-winning side. We now look at how they stack up against other treble-winning sides, which will probably happen on Sunday. And we have that Pep Guardiola discussion of where are we ranking this man in terms of a manager compared to what other managers have done, because this would be a Dubinsky on a whole other level. So guys, join me on Twitch for the live watch along. Join me on Twitch for the live watch along. Join me your boy on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch for the live watch along, and also follow me as well. And also join us for the post-match stream that shall be on YouTube. So yeah, Saturday is going to be a very interesting day, man. It gets real. It gets real. LEP or WEP. We'll see what happens on Saturday. Support the kid by becoming a Patreon member. Your support on this platform would really be appreciated. And as a thank you, gain access to some exclusive content crack for you all to enjoy. And you can also take a little bit of a sneak peek at videos for free, just to get a vibe of the content you will get on there. Choose your tier and enjoy that content crack on patreon.com/halfhope. We ride.